back. So there's quite a number of issues that we're talking about on the program today. We're talking about the Central Bank of Nigeria's new FX policies, which have continued to generate reactions. We've taken a look at, we've done some curtain raisers and a look at investors and analysts' perception of this particular policy. But then another issue also on our radar is the Green Bond Conference is coming up later on this week. Now, Nigeria's Ministers of Environment, Finance, and the Director General of the Debt Management Office will on Thursday hold a Green Bonds Capital Market and Investors Conference. And it has as a theme, Green Bonds, Investing in Nigeria's Sustainable Development, with Nigeria's Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, as the special guest of honor. Now, according to the Minister of Environment, Amina Mohammed, in a press release sent out yesterday with regards to the event is a concrete step in the process of developing and issuing the 2017 Sovereign Green Bonds Program. Now, the Green Bonds issuance will be the first stage in enabling Nigeria to tap into the growing global market for green bonds, which, as at the end of 2016, comprised of about $576 billion of unlabeled climate-aligned bonds and $118 billion of labeled green bonds, and that's according to the Climate Bonds Initiative in London. Nigeria's green bonds targets about 78 billion naira in climate finance. Let's talk to Johnson Chukwu, Chief Executive of Cowry Asset Management and Economic Policy Analyst. Good morning to you, and thank you for joining me on the program.
Good morning. My pleasure.
Talk to us. How excited is the market about this interaction?
Well, for us, it further develops our financial system and also develops our capital market. It's a further deepening of the financial system, and above all, it's also an opportunity for Nigeria to mobilize funds that are targeted at climate instruments, instruments that are going to be promoting sustainability in the global environment. So beyond the local funding that will go into a green bond issue, as some green bond issue by Nigeria, one will expect that a lot of institutional investors, of course, we're already seeing a lot of collaboration with a UK DFID and the United Nations Environmental Program with the Nigerian Minister of Environment on the issues of the green bond. So we expect a lot of funds from outside the country to come in because couple of funds that are targeted at investing in such instruments. So that might even create a window for us to have inflow of foreign direct investment or foreign portfolio investment into an instrument that is unique in its nature.
Especially the kind of confidence it will be bringing to the table, because you now have most of these foreign portfolio investors being interested in this bond coming to the Nigerian Stock Exchange, because definitely the Nigerian Stock Exchange is going to be having a handshake, so to speak, with the Minister of Environment, the Minister of Finance, and of course the Debt Management Office to ensure the success of this green bond.
Yes, that's what I said. For us, it's exciting because it has multifaceted impact on the society or the economy generally. It has the impact of attracting foreign portfolio investors that are targeted at investing in climate instruments, in sustainable instruments. You have the opportunity of mobilizing local funds and sensitizing the Nigerian environment on the benefits of green bonds, particularly the tax relief benefits associated with green bond issuances. And then the capital market, it will also help us to expand the number of instruments and type of instruments available in the market. So it has multiple effects at both the capital market operators and the Nigerian economy in general.
But in terms of yields and pricing, what are you expecting? What is the market actually expecting?
Well, in the first place, like I did mention, there are a lot of funds outside the country, that global funds that are targeted at investing in climate instruments, climate sustainable instruments. So in such instances, such investors are not looking for optimum yield. They are looking for how to invest in instruments that will help to sustain our environment for future generations. So you find that in a lot of instances, green bond issuances do not offer the same level of yield as conventional bonds. And again, the green bonds also have the additional benefit of being tax exempt. Of course, in the Nigerian instance, corporate bonds are now tax exempt. But I want to believe that having involved the DMO, having involved the Ministry of Finance, that the bond that will be issued will come with additional tax benefit beyond what the federal government bonds currently offer. That will mean that if you adjust for the tax benefit, you may actually end up with a better yield than you would have gotten if you invest in other instruments.
And it also provides a very good opportunity to diversify the economy. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I said, look, for us, and if you look at the sectors that have been earmarked for investment of the proceeds of such green bonds, environmental, like reforestation, agriculture, like smart agri, biofuel, areas like off-grid power supply, like solar, that are actually environmental friendly. And then the FCT, more energy efficient transport system. So you look at the benefit of this offer, these sectors, if funds are going to them, and that will have a catalytic effect on the Nigerian economy generally.
But if you want to look at the tenor, for instance, we talked about the yield, we talked about the pricing. What kind of tenor do you think we should be talking about at this time? What kind of tenor would interest investors at this time? Of course, bearing in mind that we already have other instruments traded in terms of the FGN bonds.
Well, if you look at, because this is also a sovereign green bond issuance, the federal government has already looked at debt instruments with 30-year maturities. I want to believe that the green bond offer will be in the longer tenor spectrum, the range of 20 to 30-year tenor. Because if you look at the nature of the areas that the proceeds will be invested in, most of them will have long-term beneficial impact. And it's not, I don't expect the tenor to be in the range of 5 to 7 years. It should be in the upper limit of the yield spectrum that the federal government has now, the tenor spectrum the federal government has now. That is the 20 to 30 year maturities.
So who would this most likely appeal more to? If you have 20 to 30 years, you're proposing 20 to 30 years, who do you think this will most likely appeal to, domestic or international investors?
Well, we have domestic investors that have very long tenor instruments, like the pension fund administrators. I'm happy that part of the advisory committee includes the pension fund of industry. So I expect that the pension fund administrator will look at an opportunity that will give them constant yield over a long period of time. And given the fact that today we are in a market environment that is volatile, one expects that the economy will strengthen up and improve over the medium to long term. So any instrument, if you lock in any instrument that has a reasonably good yield, now for a longer tenure, then you're likely going to enjoy the benefits of high yield over the lifetime of that instrument, unlike if you invest in shorter dated instruments. So I think the PFAs will be attracted. Institutional investors, like the insurance companies, will also be attracted. Those that have long-term funds, the funds from life policies can also go into such instruments. Then in addition to the foreign portfolio investors and foreign investors who have set aside funds for investment in such climate-related instruments.
And it also provides a window of opportunities as well for investors to the Nigerian Stock Exchange, talking about the corporate issuance and international investments.
Yeah, it now offers investors another category of instruments. That, the beauty of, if you have to have a robust capital market, you have to have multiplicity of instruments. And different people have different interests. So you need to offer different interests, instruments that will suit their interests. And the green bond will suit the interests of those who are particular about supporting environmental sustainability.
So you're going to be at this event happening later on in the week. What will your contributions be?
Well, the key thing for me is that we have to get the capital market community involved in this offer. We have to ensure that the issuer, the companies raising the funds, the issuing houses are capital market organizations instead of the debt managers that we had in many instances where the federal government comes to the market to raise sovereign debts. Because that group, that segment is the segment that interacts with investors on a day-to-day basis. Eventually, this instrument will trade on the cloud exchange. So we need to get the capital market to be involved in designing the project, the bond itself. Because like I mentioned, we already have federal government debt instruments that are tax exempt. We have tax exemption granted to even corporate bonds. So we need to come up with additional benefits that these green bonds will have to make them attractive. Like in other climes, the instrument that most of the time have tax exemption are the green bonds. But now we already have corporate bonds enjoying that. So we need to come up with a concept that will create more benefits for investors that want to buy into the green bond.
So in other words, you're quite excited about this new move?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for your perspectives this morning. Johnson Chukwu, CEO of Cowrie Assets Management, talking to us there about Nigeria's Green Bonds conference meeting that will be held later on this week between the Ministers of Environment, Finance and the Debt Management Office, who will be meeting the capital market operators and, of course, some investors here in Lagos. Now, the theme of this particular conference is Green Bonds, Investing in Nigeria's Sustainable Development, and it will also have the acting president, Nigeria's vice president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, as a special guest of honor. Well, Business Morning continues in just a moment. We're still taking a look at how the markets are reacting to the Central Bank of Nigeria's new FX policies, stipulating that banks can now begin to sell, banks can now have retail outlets at the airports to make it easier for customers to access Forex when they have to travel either for BTA, PTA or for medical, as the case may be. And, of course, reducing the amount of days you have to wait for your forward futures transactions from 180 days, that's about 6 months, to about 2 months. So how is the market reacting to this? Of course, we'll also take a look at one of the latest results that have come into the Nigerian Stock Exchange from Nigerian breweries with Chukwuma Anyanwu, who is the head of research at GTI Securities. He joins me after now. Stay with us.